Hi, my name is Jess and this is episode 8 of Knitting on Sweater Avenue. This is a podcast where I talk about my recently finished objects, my current works in progress, my new cast-ons, and any new yarn I have. And I think it's been 2 weeks since I last posted a knitting update, but I filmed that one I think 3 weeks ago, and then I've been on holidays for 2 weeks, so I have done a lot of knitting. I have 2 finished objects, 2 new cast-ons, and then also just like a lot of progress on, quite a lot of progress, I think. I live in Melbourne, but we went to Canada. We went skiing, and one of the really cool things I really like about skiing holidays is you ski like till about 3:30ish, and then you have the afternoon to just sort of relax. So I spent most afternoons knitting. We also did a few other things, like learn how to play bridge. That was quite fun. But it did mean that I had a lot of time to finish off the projects I brought, and I took 4 projects, and I think I brought like extra balls for all of them. And one of them I didn't have enough yarn, which was infuriating. I'll talk about that one when I show you. But only one of them did I not start all of the balls that I brought. So feeling pretty good about that. Because everyone was making fun of me for bringing 4 projects, and then I essentially finished 2 of them while we were there. But anyway, I started a new Instagram account. It's called On Sweater Avenue. It's the same as in like the same as this, same as my Ravelry, and it's to talk about knitting. Shocker, I know. I have another one called the Gruen Transformation, which is where I mostly was posting about sewing, but I thought that I kind of just wanted like one thing just for knitting, because I am doing a lot more knitting these days, and it's become my personality. But anyway, I'm going to start with my finished objects. The first of which is, finally, my Moby Sweater Man, which is for my partner. This is washed and blocked and ready to go, and he's tried it on, and he tried it on this morning. I think it looks really good, even though it's quite fitted, I will say that. Here it is in all its glory, and I will try and get him to try it on again so I can get some pictures of it. But I'm very happy with it. I made it, it's using Sandnes Garn. I think the colour is 6324. If I'm wrong, I'll post that. I didn't really make any mods. Well, I suppose strictly speaking, I knit to the length, like I got him to try it on and knit to a length that he liked. I knit a size small, and I think I changed the direction of the cables. But yeah. So this is the one project that I brought that I didn't take enough yarn for. Because every other project I've knit, like, not every, but most of the time, I have balls left over. So I was like, I probably won't need the last ball of this. So I didn't take it with me. I think the last time I was partway through one sleeve and I hadn't done the other. And I finished the first sleeve. It was really a labour of love. I didn't knit it on the plane because it requires slightly more attention paying than I thought I would be able to give it. But then I was knitting it while we were there, and I finished the first sleeve, and that was all good. And then on the second sleeve, so I've got about 20 rows in my cuff. I got to here. I had 5 rows to go, and I ran out of yarn. And I've never been so cross in my life. It's just so frustrating because I was like ready to have it done. And yeah, it really felt like it was against me. And then it also meant that when I came home, I started this ball and I used 3 meters, like nothing. So now I have a ball that I just have one opened skein. Anyway, kind of annoying, but I'm very glad to have this finished. I do think that it is very cute. I hope I mentioned it's gynt. I think I did. And yeah, so I am very happy with that. And my boyfriend tried it on, and the length seems to be good, like post blocking, because I tried to block the cables out so it like looks all snazzy, and it kind of worked. I probably could be a more aggressive blocker. Anyway, so that is my first finished object, and that's exciting because this is a finished object that I don't need to work out where it goes in my cupboard, because it doesn't go in my cupboard, it goes in his. So that's an NJP, not Jess's problem. So that's my first finished object, and this is my second. Well, I suppose I don't have buttons yet. This is my Leith Cardigan, which is a pattern by the creabea, or Rebecca by the creabea. And it is a all over striped cardigan, as you can tell, knit bottom up, seamed, or like sort of, is it Kitchener stitched? I don't know. It doesn't look sort of, it's half, the seam is in the middle here, but like you like seam, it's not 3 needle bind off. It's like knit seamed. You can see sort of where my stitches are a bit funny. I think it's essentially a Kitchener stitch. And then you pick up the sleeves and knit down. And the sample she did had different colours, like there's intarsia down the back, which looks neat-ish. Looks better from the right side, even though it's still a little bit wonky. There's intarsia down the back, and she did it with different colours on each side. But I decided to do it with different size stripes. So I have, I'm sure I've talked about this before, but I have 2 row stripes, 4 row stripes, 8 row stripes, and 16 row stripes, except for the top one. It was a little bit too hard for me to work out how to do the stripes so that they would match and fit and everything. And then this is using Sandnesgarn Double Sunday in the colours almond, which is like the whitey one, and croissant, which is the brownie one. So it's my almond croissant cardigan, and I think that's just my favourite thing ever. And I knit like a good half of the button band. So the pattern tells you to knit the button band separately and then seam it on. And I did half of that, and then I decided I hated it. So then I completely undid it and started doing it. I got something in my eye, sorry. What? So, where was I? I did half the button band and then decided that it was not, I don't know, it just was like wonky, and I thought the buttonholes were too high. Anyway, so I undid it and started doing it, like attached it, like picked up, but I was like picking up a bit and knitting it. So I was knitting from 2 ends of the ball. One of my proudest moments, I would say. And I think it looks great. I'm really happy with like the button band pick up edge. Those are my buttonholes. There's 4. And then I will sew buttons on here as soon as I go to a button shop and find them. But I was watching the Petite knit champagne cardigan, but double knit Petite knit champagne cardigan double knit button band tutorial, which is in Danish, I think, which talked about how to do the like start down the bottom and go all the way around. And what I ended up doing is I did an Italian cast on, and I knit all the way around, and then I actually decided that it was like too tall. Like my Italian cast on like had a lip. It was like an extra row or something. So I undid it and did an Italian cast off instead, because I decided that this side had looked really snazzy, and I wanted it to look like that. So that was a bit of a labor of love. Double knit button bands, I think, look so nice. It's just a shame that they take so long. But I definitely found this one less painful than I had to do the double knit on the Elizabeth blouse. There's like a double knit placket, which I have never hated anything more, and I don't know why, because it was only about this long, and I reckon I would have done that in I flew through this. I was really on a mission. So I don't know why I hated that one so much when I loved this one, but maybe I'm just like, I was so excited about finishing this one that it didn't matter. I knit, the third size, I think. But lots of the measurements were like knit to, like the upper part of the body, I knit so that the stripes would match. So not sure that was like the most accurate to the sizing. But I do really like the fit. I will pop a picture up here of me wearing it. I have a picture that I took in our mirror, which is like right here. But the mirror needs clean, so I think I have another picture that I can put up instead. Just so that, you know, you don't have to deal with the fact that I need to learn how to dust. But yeah, so that is my second finished object. And this is one that I have to work out where I'm going to put it in my closet. But that's okay, because I think it's so cute. And I wore it to work yesterday. And I mean, I wore it to work, and I work as a software engineer. So not everyone in my company is a software engineer. In fact, mostly they're not, but a lot of them are. So you don't get a lot of, we call it no bars in my family, when it's like, you're getting no Wi-Fi bars, as in no one's paying attention to you. And that's not why I wear it, but it was funny. You get no comments from anyone. But I was talking to the receptionist, and I think I'd posted on Instagram that I had finished it and I was wearing this today. And she was like, oh, did you make that? And that's my favorite, like when people didn't even think that you would have made it. Anyway, I'm very excited about it. I really like it. I was fully inspired by one I think Rebecca from the Creabea was knitting at one point, but I think I saw it in one podcast, or maybe it wasn't even her, and then I've never seen it again. So I think whoever was knitting it stopped, but I kept going. Anyway, so that is my cardigan. But yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm wearing my camisole number 9. Camisole number 9, my favorite thing's knitwear. Knit in Fibresmith terracotta 4-ply. I finished it mid-2023. It is the coolest thing I've ever knit, I think. And I have many plans to knit more, but I keep casting on other things because I'm a loose unit. Knit in a size small. Gets a lot of wear. Probably will be taken off after this because although it is a nice temperature now, it's only it's 7:45 in the morning, and if the rest of the Melbourne days are anything to show, I am going to need to wear not a merino shirt. It's way too hot. It's midsummer. So my next work in progress, let me think. Maybe I'll start with this one. Where did I put it? Yeah. This, finally, I have joined in the round on my, oh, I'm going to get stabbed. This is my twist loop top by Other Loops. Ooh. Apparently my current technique is to just stab my yarn with my cable needle. Okay. I finally have joined in the round. I think I was about here the last time, and I was like, oh, I just want to join in the round. And then when I started doing it, I realized I had to do like 40-ish rows before I even started the increases. And then it's another, because for the increases, because it's a 2x3, it's a 3x2 rib. You need 5 right side rows to get another pattern, to get another rib, and I increased it by like 4, so that's another 40 rows right there. So it took me a lot longer than I was expecting to join it in the round, but I have started a new ball. So that was another project I took with me to Canada. So yeah, I took the 2 finished objects, this and one more, and yeah, I think it's looking really, oh, I do love this. I'm so excited for this. It's so nice. This is I'm having trouble speaking. This is knit in Knitting for Olive merino in Dusty Artichoke, which is leftover from my sweater number 18, I think is the right one, by My Favorite Things Knitwear, the cable knit one. And I am trying something new here, which I have done on another sweater, so I'll talk about more in that one, but I've done, it tells you to cast on under the arms, and I've done a provisional cast on. It's my new thing. I love provisional cast ons. I don't want to do anything else. They just, they work for me. But yeah, so I finally joined it in the round, so I'm hoping that I can make some more speedy progress, although knowing me, probably not, but I've done about 1 centimetre. So, you know, we're getting there. I will say, whenever I get this out to work on it, I get a lot of gags from my family, like, what baby are you knitting that for? And, you know, just regarding the size. And it's a rib, so it looks small. Like, it does look like there's no way that that will fit me. But I'll admit that I'm hopeful. I think it'll be fine. It's gonna be fine. Just, like, stretch that out. We're chilling. Because it doesn't even, like, it only needs to go to here. Anyway. So that is the twist loop top by Other Loops. Other Loops is releasing, I think this is the right person, a sweater that I want to cast on so badly. I think they're releasing it today. The Brady Loop sweater. It's got like a cable all the way across. I'm so excited. I don't know when I will knit that, but I'm very excited to knit it. That is my next one. And then the last project I took with me to Canada, which I think really did excel from the, attention it got, is my, I was about to call my Leith Cardigan, not that, my Lyon sweater by Petite. And she is so cute. Look at that colour. I hope it's like coming up properly. So this is the Lyon sweater. Oh, it's so soft. The Lyon sweater by Petite Knit. I'm knitting it in a size small. I am knitting it using one strand of Sunday by Sandnesgarn. This one. This is the colour 1012, which I think is whipped cream, I think. Oh, the names, I just love the names. But I am knitting one strand of that and one strand of this. Zakami. I've been on a real creabea, obsessive watching all the videos kick, and she calls it Zakami, and that sounds better than Zakami. But this is their baby Suri alpaca in Exordium. And it's this, it looks quite colourful in the skein. And then if I get my, if I get like the ball, it looks relatively colourful on the cake. It looks very white in the sweater. I mean, I've known that for a while, given that we're here, but it's a very white sweater. But I think, oh, the fit is just amazing. The Lyon sweater is my first, like, set-in sleeve, I think, and I am a fan. I have been, a couple of notes on this sweater, I have been doing helical knitting, which is a lot. So I started midway through the back, and you can't tell where, thank goodness. But I think you can kind of tell, well, maybe it doesn't look so in person, it's clearer, I think, that it gets more colourful from about here. Do you see that? It's like definitely more colourful. So I think my top skein was not very colourful. And I was like, oh, maybe I won't do it, like I won't helical knit on the sleeves, because it was kind of, there's not a lot of information. I thought it sounded very simple, and in many ways it is. Other than the fact that you just randomly add yarn in the middle of the row and start knitting with it. The thing I was not sure about is what I do with the ribbing and how I cast off. That was what I was confused about. So my solution to that was I did helical knitting until I got to the ribbing. And then it must be this side. Then I just stopped helical knitting. Like I just cut off the other yarn and knit with only one for the ribbing. I need to sew that together. Look at that edge. Because otherwise I don't know. You've got like two following each other. I don't know how you cast off. Anyway, so that was kind of weird. But then I did the collar. Speaking of which, and speaking of the creabea, I'm doing a 3x1 rib on this. That's my like main change on the pattern. And I love it. It looks so cool. 3x1 rib collar, 3x1 ribbed hem. So I'll do that on the sleeves as well. But what it meant, the collar, when I was knitting it, I was like, wow, it's definitely color pooling. So I decided that I would do helical knitting on the sleeves, which was actually very straightforward. And I will do the same thing where I just cut off the second yarn once we get to the cuff, because that worked for me last time. It's kind of weird because when I'm doing the decreases, which you can see here with my little markers, you do one decrease with one yarn and one decrease with the other, because you change yarns every round, but it doesn't seem to have any effect, so it works for me. And here, this is the first project where I did a provisional cast on. So if I look at the sleeve that I haven't done, I still have my little yarn. Well, okay, not that helpful. There's a lot of yarn here. That's the yarn holding, which has the sleeves stitches on it. And then I have a little crochet provisional cast on here. And so I've just picked up those stitches on this side. I can reach in to show you. It needs to, I need to do a bit of pulling just to smooth it out. And that's just my first row. But it just there's no seam on the inside, because there's nothing to seam. It's just all, this is not showing very well. Where am I looking? Here. There's nothing to seam. There's some holes because I just need to pull some yarns and deal with that. Even though I did pick up an extra stitch on both sides. It's still not looking super perfect, but it feels like there kind of is a seam, which is weird. But the stitches do perfectly go from one to the other. And it was fun, and it's something new, and I like that. So anyway, this is my Lyon sweater. We're halfway through the sleeve. We're loving it. I think it's so cool. I'm so happy with this. I want it to be done, except I don't need it to be done because we flew back into Australia and it was 36 degrees Celsius. And that is too hot, in my opinion. And I don't mind going to the beach, but in my experience, there's not that much shade, so then I'm just hot and wet and sandy, which is not an improvement in my opinion. So I just sort of melted when we got back. And ergo, I don't need any sweaters at all. Just don't need them. But if I finish it now, then I can wear it all through winter, in autumn, and when the office gets cold, which it doesn't really, and I just love it. And it's so soft. Suri alpaca is so soft. I love it so much. So that is that. 2 more sleeves. Well, I guess a sleeve and a half. I think I'm on Sleeve Island a bit. Well, I was doing it. Well, I wasn't doing it yesterday. I was doing it the day before. But yeah, so I have my two bags because I'm holding 2 yarns. And I'm doing helical knitting. I have 4 yarns. So I just have them in these bags. This one, just plastic bags. I think because I thought it would be, they would slide better. But they're just bags from buying cycling gear. And so then every time I switch yarns, I switch the bags. And I knit around. I switch the bags. Anyway, we're getting there. Put that back in that one. I will be excited when that's done, But then I think I'm going to probably most likely cast on another project in which I'm also going to be helical knitting. So I guess that's who I am now. But I like it. And this must be my last, let me just randomly put my yarns away. I have all of my yarn in this little, you can't see it, but it's like there, except for these nice skeins that were actually here before, but I thought they looked nicer there. This is my last whip that you've seen, and then I have 2 cast-ons. This is my current work whip, by which I mean I feel comfortable knitting on this in the office when I'm in meetings or doing courses. Because I'm a grad, we have to do some courses. And I've told my manager that I think they're a waste of time, and I think he agrees, but they're also, like, I do have to do them. So I do them, but I also knit while I watch the videos. Because I can do it without looking at the yarn, anyway, I'm sure I've talked about this. This is my Oslo hat. Oh, that colour is so good. This is for one of my uncles. It's like a Christmas present. I'm sure I've talked about this. We do Kris Kringle with my extended family. Just dropped a stitch. Where the idea of it, which started when we were younger, was it had to have a handmade aspect because it is individual to individual and the kids are involved. And because children don't generally have any ability to like buy presents, the concept was if it has a bit of a handmade aspect, then at least they will have had something to do with it. And it's just nice. And some of the gifts are so nice. But this is a beanie. I gave him the yarn for Christmas because there was no chance I was going to knit. I didn't have enough time to knit it before Christmas, but I knew that I had enough time to knit it before he would need it because he lives in Sydney, which is even warmer than we are here in Melbourne. Sorry, I live in Canberra with my parents I used to live in Canberra with my parents, and I forget where I live. This is the Oslo hat. I am knitting the medium size. I am using black wattle fibres, Dianella 8-ply, which is I think it's a merino alpaca blend. I know that I've had crisis with this in the past. It's actually merino bamboo. My bad. And this is in the colour, I think it's a khaki. It's a hand-dyed yarn. But it's just like a tonal green. And I think it is so nice. Anyway, I have done I've knit what's that called? The head bit? The folded head bit? The brim. I've knit the brim, and I've done you do a bit and then you do a German shawl return. And so now I'm doing the actual main bit of the hat. So I think we are on kind of the final stretch. I've still got another, I reckon, this length to go, but not folded, that's folded. And so this is nice because it's very portable. So I knit on it on the train on the way to work, and then I knit on it if I have any meetings while I'm at work. And it's portable and also simple, so I don't have to think about it. But that will only be true until I get to where I need to do decreases, and then it will no longer be a work whip. And then I'll need to find something else. And I don't think any of my current projects fit. And that's why I have a new cast on. Very preemptive, definitely. Anyway, it's this feels really nice. Merino bamboo, it is kind of dry. It feels a bit drier than I would say normally most of my yarn feels. But I do think that it's nice that it's one color, but it's also I like the variation. I think it looks really snazzy. So that is that whip. I'm looking forward to that one being an FO soon, reducing my number of gift knits that I've offered to do. And I'm just enjoying it. And this is my first new cast on. And if anyone's known me before, they know that this bag means socks. It's just going to be a pair of, oh dear. It's going to be a pair of vanilla socks. But I have this much yarn left over from knitting another sock this year. Like another pair of socks. Last year. And it's like a nice little white, and I think it looks cute, and so I wanted to use it. But I want to make sure that it matches. So what I've done is I've cast on 2 socks attached to either ends of a pink yarn, and I'm doing the cuff. And I'm going to do something, it's a 2x2 ribbed cuff. Obviously I've done one more than the other. And I'm going to do like 8 or 10 rows, I think, on both of them. And then I'm going to attach them to either ends of the white ball. And I'm going to knit a row, and then knit a row, and then knit a row, and then knit a row until I've used the white ball. And I'm going to do the same, another round of pink, and then they're going to be yellow. So it's going to be, oh shit, excuse me. It's going to be like pink and yellow. And it's just sort of using up. This one I had a mini skein of, so I'm just using that up. I think this is from like a mini skein 3-pack from Fibresmith, which I think this was also part of. And then there's one more somewhere. So I'm using up that, and then this is the remainder from my sister's sort of spruce socks hack, which I gave her for Christmas. So I have 2 balls of this. One is slightly bigger than the other, but neither of them are quite big enough to knit a full. Neither of them is big enough to knit a full sock with. That's why I'm doing this funky cuff situation. But that's okay. I'm excited. I think it'll look cute. So I'm going to do, this was a German twisted cast on, 64 stitch on 2.25mm needles. I'll knit the cuff, then I'll probably do a couple of rounds with the yellow, and then I will go into the foot. And they're going to be pretty basic little socks. It's probably, 2x2 rib cuff, and then it'll just be stockinette for the socks, because I have ribbed socks, and I think they look really nice on my sock blockers, and I think they look really weird on my feet. I don't know why. It's not that I look at other people's socks and think that looks weird, I just look at my socks on my feet and think that looks weird, which is a little aggressive. But I really like my socks, but I just want to make sure that I am knitting socks that I really, really like, because otherwise I'm spending a lot of time. I guess I would be knitting anyway, but I do really like knitting socks that I like. So I'm probably going to do a similar thing. I have like just enough left of 2 balls of this to knit another pair of socks. And so I'm going to do it. So that is my cast on ready for, I think I do want to have the pink and the white sorted out before I am using it as a work cast on, because I don't want to have to think. So I've got a bit more on that to do before I can swap it for my beanie. Well, not my beanie, but the beanie. But at the moment it's sort of, it'll languish while I work on all these other fun things that I'm enjoying. My last newest cast on. I have 2 more whips. One is languishing. Wait, let me talk about my cast on, my newest cast on of last night, and then I'll talk about my languishing whips. This is my newest cast on. In a bag that I sewed myself. I made, this is actually, I don't know if I've ever talked about this. I think maybe I have. I made 2 of these bags. I made them in, it must have been like December of 2022. And I made 2. And this is, I think it's like the 0 waste scrap bag with a few hacks. But I made one for my mum, and then I made myself a matching one, so my siblings would be jealous. And we bought her a sweater quantity of Knitting for Olive merino and mohair and the Jenny sweater from Petite Knit for Christmas 2022. So it was like me and my 2 siblings gave that to mum, because we were all going on holiday January 2023, and I was like, you knit this sweater, and if you have any issues I will help, because we were all going on holiday together, and if it's just too much I'll knit it for you. And anyway, and I gave her the knitting bug bad. So this is the matching bag. Hers I embroidered. So her name is Jenny. That's why we gave her, one of the reasons we gave her the Jenny. And I just love it because her name's Jenny and she's knit the Jenny, and then her middle name's Elizabeth and she's knit the Elizabeth. We're really, you know, I don't know anyone who's released her last name, but if anyone's releasing a Gruen pattern, let me know. So it's a cotton linen from Spotlight. And it has a few little tricks about it, like it's got a little bag here. It's got a big pocket on the inside if you want to put your pattern, or in my case my iPad, which is where I keep all my patterns. And then it has a little pocket here for notions, although admittedly the bag is not that stable. Ooh, I have my whale. My little whale ends in there. I'd lost them. The bag's not that stable, so if it falls over, these all fall out. And then I put a little hook for you to put stitch markers, and I don't have any, clearly. And I have yarn. This must be the remainder from my Leith cardigan. Sorry, going on a whole journey here. Here is my newest cast on. I've got something in my eye again. This is the Moby Neck by Petite Knit in Sandnes Garn Double Sunday in the colour Camel, which is, I have another ball over there, but I don't know. I think it's like 2524 or something. I'll put the number on the screen. But this is Camel. And I had two and like 2.1 balls of this, which is not enough to knit the Moby Neck. But I really wanted to knit it anyway, and so I think I've ordered another 2 or 3 balls so that I can finish it. And there's a few other things I was ordering, so it's combining the shipping. But this is the beginning of my Moby Neck. I'm knitting a size small. I'm knitting on 3.5mm needles. I've done a little bit of the first cables. The first mock cables. We've got a real cable here and here, and it's so cute. I did a provisional, I suppose it's kind of a provisional. I did a tubular cast on using the tutorial from Very Pink Knits. She tells you to do a backwards loop cast on with a scrap yarn and then knit into that. And that's how you yarn over knit, you knit one and then yarn over knit one, all the rest of them, to get 2 times the number of stitches, almost, if you have one less. But I initially tried it with a crochet provisional cast on, and it worked, except the first stitch didn't work, and I'm still not entirely sure why. But I did like 4 rows and then had to completely undo it. But this seems to have worked, so I think it looks really cute. That's where the first black I had, that's where the scrap pull took me to. So basically just did the ribbing, almost. And so I'm now onto my first real ball. And I'm going to order it. It won't be the same dye lot, but hopefully it will be fine. And otherwise, I'm confident that my mother is sitting, not that she really watches these, but she'll be confused about why I'm knitting this anyway. I'm thinking of it like a scarf. It's like a bougie scarf, which has a nice front panel and back panel. But it's so cool. You cast on at the back and then you knit over, like with a hole for your head, and then you pick up the neck and knit up. And I think that's a very groovy kind of construction, and I'm excited to try it. I feel like you could also do that with another, if you cast on a sweater here, you could knit over. I wonder why people don't do that. Probably because that seems like a waste of time. If you were doing a whole sweater, I feel like you can do other things. But I'm very excited about this. I think it looks very groovy. The one thing that I'm confused about, the only thing I'm confused about is the cables do not go all the way over the shoulder. I feel like if you were knitting it like that, that would be the one thing I would want to make sure happened, but it doesn't. And I don't really understand why. So yeah, that's the thing that I'm confused about. But other than that, I think the colour is nice. I think that I like it so far. And it's just like, it's definitely a dopamine cast on. I'm just so excited. It's just so groovy. So that is my newest cast on. I cast it on last night and I did a couple of rows this morning. And I mean, obviously it'll be a pretty quick knit because it's like less work than a cropped sweater. Like it's the most cropped thing I've ever made. And it has no sleeves. And the front is like I think it's gonna fly. We'll see. I have a lot of other projects that I am enjoying working on. But yeah, that's that. And I have 2 balls at the moment. Like this is almost full. I have 1 completely full ball. And then I've got some more yarn to finish that off. And that doesn't count as a yarn acquisition, right? Maybe. Anyway, so that is my newest cast on. And that brings me to the end of all of my current active whips. Although kind of. So my Elizabeth blouse that I'm knitting in the Sugar Baby Alpaca is a bit of stockinette in the round. I've done like 5 more rounds. Nothing really to show you there. It's getting slow progress. Hopefully I will finish it. Sorry. Oh, just gotta switch the cross of my legs. I'm hoping to finish it. No, I'm not. I'm hoping to get it done because I want it off my needles, and I do kind of want it, but everything else is clearly a higher priority. And then the Semper Slipover V-neck is also languishing. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to knit a bit more. My friend keeps undoing her progress because she'll like find a mistake or make a mistake. And she's in Canberra and I'm in Melbourne, so I can't help, which is very frustrating. But I know that once we get there, like hers is going to be perfect. But I just got to give her time. So no real hurry on that one. Like I'm doing it partly because I think it's a cool knit and also as something for us to do together. So I'm flexible on that. And now the last thing I have is some yarny acquisitions. So I think I mentioned that I promised, I gave one of my best friends for Christmas a little mini baby sweater. It's like about this big. To say that I would knit her a sweater for like Christmas birthday this year. And hilariously, both she and my grandmother thought that I was pregnant, like I was giving her a sweater that was this big because I was pregnant. I would argue that she should be giving me a sweater if I'm pregnant. Or also, what baby, like, that's not, maybe a baby born, if anyone remembers those, maybe. Anyway, this came for me to knit her sweater. So this is the Drops Cotton Merino in the colour forest green or dark green. And what is interesting and kind of annoying is it's like stripy. It's green, it is green, and if you hold it back here it looks very green, but like if you hold it up close you can see that it's got like colour variation. I've knit a swatch and I think it's nice and I am going to knit it because I mostly knit the swatch to check my gauge, which is wild. I don't know when I started doing that, but I knit the swatch to check my gauge and to make sure that the weird light greenness was not too annoying. And I think it's okay. So that will probably be my next cast on, most definitely. But it's not for me. This is going to become the Elizabeth blouse with white stripes. So Drops Cotton Merino. This is what I knit so I knit the Maud tee and I hacked it to have long sleeves. So then it was essentially the Elizabeth blouse. And so I did that like mid last year, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing for her, except I'm just going to knit the Elizabeth blouse. So I don't have to do any thinking because I think I'm going to make a smaller size. And it's going to be this nice green with white stripes. And I have 3 balls remaining from knitting mine that I'm going to hold with it. So mine was white and like beige, and hers is going to be green and white. But I pretty much only need the green for like, the green will be the collar and to like here, and then that will start striping. I'll probably do the same stripe pattern that I did, which was 12 row big stripes and 5 row small stripes. Or maybe I'll do 12 and 6 because that makes more sense in my head. But yeah, so that's my first acquisition. I got 9 balls, I think, over this. I'm not 100% sure, 8 or 9. And I just ordered them off Etsy because, no, I ordered them off Wool Warehouse and I had a whole drama. Oh, that's what happened. So, both of this yarn and the other yarn that I'll show you in a second arrived, I think, the day that I filmed my other episode or the day after. So I've had it for a while. And I had ordered this from Wool Warehouse and I clearly had screwed up putting my address in to the checkout, and it hadn't included the unit number I'm in. So I'm in like an apartment block which has a unit number, and it didn't have that in my address. And so I was like, I don't know how they, like, the person is going to try and deliver it, and it wasn't tracked because I was like, it doesn't need to be tracked. And I was like, I don't know how they're going to deliver it because they're going to try and deliver it to, you know, let's say number 50, not my number. And then they're going to realize that number 50 has 15 apartments, and they're going to be like, well, who knows? And clearly they're not willing to, like, I don't know, the post is not willing to say, there is a Jessica who lives at number 15 out of 50, like unit 15, address 50, but she's only put 50 on this one, let's have a think, but not a thing. So I was stressed and I called the post more than once. I was actually very impressed with Australia Post because even though it wasn't tracked, so they weren't sending me tracking updates, they clearly knew of its existence and were like, it's on its way. Anyway, so I was stressing. So I was sitting working on my balcony when I thought it was out for delivery because I was hoping to like spot the postman and be like, excuse me, I know it doesn't have the unit on it, but like, here's my ID, it's for me, I swear, I can tell you what it is, I can tell you what the address it says on it is, like, I swear. And then the postman arrived and he rang my doorbell and I was like, wow, they figured it out, like, look at him go. And he gave me a parcel and it was for this other yarn, and I was like, oh, it like took me a second, then I was like, wait, do you have another parcel for me? I know it doesn't have a unit. And he's like, yes, I do, I scanned it, and I was about to say that it was unable to be delivered, but and he just gave it to me, which also was like a little rogue, but I suppose I had like provided him with information to suggest that I knew it was coming. So, and it was the same, it was to, no, it wasn't to the same person because I'd posted the other yarn to my partner for free shipping. Don't come at me. I've never done, anyway. So yeah, that was what I did, but it came and I got it. That was a very long-winded story to say that I stalked my postman. Just to get yarn. So that's my first acquisition. And this is my second acquisition. Well, it's 2, but they're not for together. It's knitting for Olive. I don't know what happened. I got knitting for Olive blue tit and knitting for Olive pomegranate, both in their merino. I got 6 balls of both. And I did do the thing, well, I shipped it to my partner to get free shipping. And I don't feel bad about that because I've never gotten free shipping from them. So I'm still only getting it once, even though I do think it's meant to be aimed at new people. But I don't, yeah. I spent so much money on knitting for Olive. And they're both to be, my plan is to hold them both with another yarn. This one, I already have it ready. So the blue tit, I am holding it with my Pasley Knits Milky Way. This is what it looks like in a skein. Oops. This is what it looks like in a cake. It's like, I didn't realize it had these like tealy blue bits. And where's my, here. this is what it looks like in a swatch. Wow, I feel so organized. Look at me go. So this is what is it? So it's Blue Tit and Milky Way held together it's from the Pasley Knits Milky New Zealand collection. And I have 3 skeins of Suri and now 6 skeins of Blue Tit. And it's so soft. I was a little worried because if you look at the skein, it looks kind of matted. Like if you compare it to the, what is it? Zakami? I don't know. If you compare the skeins, like, do they have the same length? Maybe they don't. Oh, they don't, lol. This one is 328 yards per 50 grams. And this one is 460 yards per 50 grams. Right. That makes a lot more sense now. They're different yarn. I mean, obviously they're different. They're relatively similar. They're both 75, well, this one's 75% baby Suri alpaca, this one's 74% baby Suri alpaca, and then the rest of them is silk, so 25 and 26% silk. Anyway, so I was a little bit worried because this one I thought was looking a little bit like matted-y in the skein. Like it just sort of looks like it's kind of all one thing. But it was actually pretty easy to cake, so that made me think that was a good sign. And then I thought that the swatch would also make me feel better. And it does look really nice. But now I'm worried because if it's only 300 meters per skein, then I only have 900 meters. I want to knit the Monday sweater. I'm hoping it'll be fine, otherwise I'm going to have a crisis. It's going to be fine. I never use all of it anyway. No, how big is try to compare it. So this is 250 meters and 50 grams. 250 meters, and I have 6 of them. So that's 1,500? 255, yeah. That's a lot more than I have of this. 328 yards per 50 grams. I might be in a pickle. That, I only realised that just then. Damn, that's annoying. Anyway, moving on from me only majorly panicking. I do think it looks very nice in this, and I'm excited to cast it on into a Monday sweater. I'm going to do it with 2x2 ribbed accents, and I think I'm going to knit a size up, which would be a medium. So it's going to be, I guess, fairly similar to the October sweater by Petite Knit, I think is the right one. But hopefully it'll be right. But I don't need to buy that. I'm just going to hack this one to be what I want it to be, because I don't think they're that different, and I think it looks really nice. I'm very excited about this. I'm now worried that I don't have enough yarn. I'm now quite worried about that. But I will deal with it. It's gonna be fine. Pasley Knits is currently doing a pre-order for her Rewind collection, which is unrelated, but I will see if she's got any spare of the other one when I do an order. And this one, I don't have anything to hold it with yet, but I saw a yarn when I was in Canberra, and I do want to try Australian yarns. And I saw a hand dyer when I was in Canberra from Myron Bateman, and so I was gonna, the next time I go home, when I'm in need of a new project, I was gonna go visit and have a look and buy some Suri to hold this with, because I think Suri is just like my, what is it? OTP, I just love it. We were playing this game over Christmas. We were on a walk, and everyone, it's like a 1 to 10 rating game, and everyone but one person knows the number the like rating number. So it's like, it's a 4. And then the person who doesn't know individually asks everyone questions, and they have to pick something with the rating. So for example, like chocolate bars, if they like, and then you have to pick from what you think is like a 4 out of 10 chocolate bar. And when it was my go, I asked Mum what, and then they're trying to guess what number it is. And sometimes it's very obvious, but I asked Mum, I was like, yarn, what like, give me a yarn that's this out of 10. And she said Surrey alpaca. I was like, it's a 10. Undoubtedly it's a 10. So I thought that was funny. Anyway, that is all I have for you today. I think this is probably a longer episode than I have done in a while, but I had so much progress, so that's okay. Just, I have to edit it now, but that's fine. I thought the next video I thought I might do was going to be about deciding what my next cast on, like my next for me sweater cast on. So like, I'm not going to go into my options, but I'm not including the sweater for my friend because I'm going to cast that on unrelated. But I am going to include this one. Anyway, so there's a couple of options that I'm tossing up between. So I thought I might do that as my next one, and then so like if I post this one and then 2 weeks later do that one, and then 2 weeks later I can do another update, and that's like about a month between me doing knitting updates, which I think is pretty alright. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. But yeah, that is all I have, and so I'm gonna end it here. Thank you so much for watching, if you've made it all the way to the end. If you liked it, feel free to like it, and if you wanted to subscribe, that would be super awesome too. Also, I can't believe I didn't mention this. Oh no, I've started an Instagram account. I might have to do something. I might have to edit the beginning. I've like got a new Instagram account just specifically for knitting. It's called On Sweater Avenue. It's the same as this one, and like as in it's the same name, and it's just where I'm going to post about just knitting. So yeah, if you wanted to go check that out, it only has 3 posts right now. It might have 4 by the time you see this, or 5, I don't know. But yeah, that is the other thing for me. Wow, I need to like write a list of stuff that I want to remember. Anyway, I hope you're having a great day. Make sure you drink some water, have a cup of tea. I'm gonna go make a cup of tea. And I will talk to you later. Bye.